What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 3VO podcast, where we are all on the same team. I'm one of your hosts today, Brendan.
And I'm the other one, Jordan.
And if you're new here, we're just two big ol' nerds who absolutely love video games. And we love sharing our love of video games with the world. So if you too are a lover of video games, then this is the show for you. As always, it's time to check in. Jordan, how's it going?
It's been going pretty good, especially considering that we just got back from an amazing vacation. Oh my god. 4 days on the ocean and 1 day in Ensenada was so good.
It was so nice.
It was so good.
Drank so much. I drank like fish, to be honest.
I drank so much my doctor told me I needed to stop for a while. That's not even a lie.
Well,
it's exactly
it's not
what
even
happened.
being hyperbolic.
There's a reason why I'm drinking coffee right now, because he said, nah, you gotta stop for like close to a month. And then you're good.
Yeah. But our cruise was pretty lit. Super fantastic.
Cruise was fantastic.
Enjoyable.
Couldn't ask for better company.
Yeah.
While we were out
oh
there.
My God.
It was so nice.
Everybody was so welcome and like made that trip so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also what I've been up to. Is
I was gonna say it's pretty much a duo sort of like catching up right now. Other than video game wise, however, to discuss that a little bit. Finally picked up Dying Light 2.
Okay.
I don't know if I've talked about it too much on this thing. It's one of my favorite. Dying Light, the first Dying Light is one of my favorite games of all time. It's a zombie survival game mixed with like a parkour element of the gameplay. So it's like Mirror's Edge, but if there were zombies in it.
Huh.
And the first one is fantastic. This one, it's the gameplay is phenomenal. They've made great improvements gameplay wise. The story is just lacking.
That's too bad.
Which is just like, and the first game didn't have like a complex storyline. It wasn't anything like groundbreaking, but it was solid and it worked and I liked everything about it. This one is just like, it's just very muddy. They added like a choice system kind of into the game. That's like halfway there, but not really there. It was like, they made the promise that they were going to have like all these things of like alliances and like build your own character, make your own choices. And then it like didn't fully happen. So then they kind of like gave up halfway through, so it's like it's kind of there but not at the same time.
Gotcha.
But I'm still playing it, so it's not awful. I'm still having a fun time. Running around, jumping on buildings, and jumping on top of zombies is still really, really fun. So that part of it I'm still enjoying.
Yeah.
Just, would have liked a little bit more attention to the story on my end. That's all.
Cool.
What about you? Anything gaming wise?
I picked up a game recently called Potion Permit. It's a newer game. It's a cozy game.
Okay.
You play as this guy who just moved to this town, and you're like an alchemist from the big city, right, from the capital. And they're like, we don't like capital alchemists, rada, rada, rada.
Oh my God.
And you have to like kind of win over the town and like make friendships with everybody. And your whole zhuzh is that you're there to like help heal people. So you have to go out and you like collect ingredients and you come back to your laboratory and you make potions and people get sick and then you take care of them in your clinic. And they're like, I guess you're not so bad after all. And it's very cute. It's very Stardew Valley, but make it like alchemy. Yeah, it's very fun.
I love that we've gotten to the place in video games and just in gaming in general where it's like that would normally be just somebody in your game that you wouldn't got shit from. Like that's just a guy in Skyrim you go by potions.
Oh yeah, that's an
from.
NPC, and now we're making.
And now we're in a place where we're just kind of like, no, I want to play as that guy. That's who I want to be now. I want to play as that dude in the game. I love it. Okay, but it's just like chilling out, making shit, selling it to people and whatnot.
It's super,
very Stardew Valley-esque.
Stardew
That's
Valley.
cute.
Relationship building, yeah.
Got you. Sounds like I doesn't quite sound like it'd be my particular.
Right. No, it's absolutely
thing.
Right up my alley.
Oh yeah. I get you. And now it's time to go over to a reporter in the studio with the headlines. Blumpkin Hamfist.
Greetings and salutations, ladies and gents, theys and thems. It's time to bring you the new news in an old way today. Shortly after the announcement of a third Bayonetta game, the original voice actor for the titular character, Helena Taylor, released a statement on Twitter suggesting that she was only offered a measly $4,000 to return to the role for the third game. Needless to say, folks were a little razzle-frazzled after that. But then a story from Bloomberg, corroborated by Video Game Chronicle, said that they had sources confirming that Taylor was originally offered $15,000 for the role. with Taylor clarifying again on Twitter by explaining that she was actually offered $10,000 initially, which then went up to $15,000, with Platinum Games then offering Taylor $4,000 for a cameo appearance in the game. I haven't been this surprised by a story since that Orson Welles fella told us that aliens were attacking. The last thing from Taylor on the subject was them declaring they're standing by their statements and asking fans to boycott the game and instead donate to a list of charities that they shared in the same tweet. Some of those charities were later revealed to possibly have had anti-abortion agendas. Pardon my language, folks, but this whole situation sounds like a real humdinger. Moving on from that hullabaloo, the beta for Outlast Trials opened and closed recently. Players found themselves returning to a familiar setting from the first game, but this time with each other. Dun dun dun! Mark Delaney from GameSpot notes, the biggest difference between the Outlast Trials and the games that precede it is its co-op friendly setup. Every other Outlast experience has been a single-player experience. In the Outlast Trials, you can play alone and see all there is to see, but you'll probably get much farther with a friend or three. No official release date has been announced as of yet, but the idea of more Outlast has got this reporter more excited than when they invented the merry-go-round. What year is it supposed to be? Who knows? Lots of fun stuff coming out in the next couple of months. As just a few exciting examples, November sees Return to Monkey Island, Just Dance 2023, The Devil in Me, which is the newest from the Dark Pictures anthology, and Sonic Frontiers, with early December releases showing The Callisto Protocol, High on Life, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Dragon Quest Treasures, and Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Lots of fun stuff coming out in the next couple of months. As just a few exciting examples, November sees Return to Monkey Island, Just Dance 2023, The Devil in Me, which is the newest from the Dark Pictures anthology, and Sonic Frontiers, and early December releases showing The Callisto Protocol, High on Life, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Dragon Quest Treasures, and Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. With these many exciting titles coming, who's even got time to go outside and play throw the rope with their kids? Did I make that up? You'll never know. And that's it for the new news in an old way this week. Back to you.
Thank you so much. And now it's time for some updates of our own. As you probably have already guessed, there have been some channel updates. We're doing things a little bit differently. We've got some new talent helping us out with the show. Her name is Caitlin Darnell, and she is absolutely incredible. She has already brought so much energy and life into the show, and we hope that you can all see the difference that she is making, helping us elevate to be the best selves that we can be and put on the best show that we can for you. So big ups to Caitlin. Thank you so much for joining the 3VO family. We are so happy to have you here.
It has already been just like, how the fuck were we doing this without?
Yeah.
Don't know how this was offered. It just feels like we've been holding it together by like
With like duct
rubber
tape
bands and duct tape. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now and somebody came and just like, like nails and glue exist, right?
That's exactly.
And we're
what
like,
it is.
oh yeah, we could have done it that way. You're right.
So we hope that you are enjoying the kind of facelift that has been given to the show, and we hope to keep elevating and getting better for you. All right, with all of that out of the way, now it's time to talk about the game of today, and that is Playdead's puzzle platformer Inside. Now, Inside was released in 2016 and is Playdead's spiritual successor to Limbo, which we have covered on the show before, so go back and make sure you listen to our Limbo episode. Inside sees players lead an unnamed protagonist through a multitude of dangers and dodging certain death, while running away from pursuers. Inside takes the dark, side-scrolling puzzle-solving precedent that was set by Limbo and runs with it. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about this game. Jordan, first impressions.
Oh, well, for transparency, this isn't even my first impression of this game.
Oh, yeah, you played it before.
Played this game ages ago. I think about when it first dropped, because I immediately saw, like, same guys who made Limbo.
Right.
Gotta check this thing out right away,
absolutely.
of course. And immediately fell in love with it. And my first impressions were just, like, very similar to Limbo. I kind of at first thought, when I first played, I was like, okay, maybe this is like a similar thing to Limbo where it's just like a different, but with like a different look and a different skin to it,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately jumped into it because it starts the same as Limbo. If you're familiar with Limbo, you know,
Right.
you essentially start with this one you fall down a hill, but like with
Right,
Limbo you
in
start,
Limbo,
you
you just,
wake
like,
up,
start,
and then you just kind of start.
And
But
you
it
just go.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It starts you off, you go, you just start running. It sort of relies on your innate thinking as a gamer to be like platformer, go right,
Yes,
essentially.
absolutely.
And then you just start going, and then you realize again you're a smaller child, like you're guessing at age you'd probably be like maybe 13 at most, 13,
yeah,
14
maybe at most. Yeah.
at most. And you just start running, and you're like, I'm in a forest. What the hell am I doing here? And then immediately there's people with guns chasing you,
Trying to get you.
trying to not just get you, but kill you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you died at the beginning of the game, but the first time somebody catches you, they just run up, grab the
And
child,
fucking
and
choke you.
snap your neck.
Yeah.
Like again similar to Limbo with limited colors and graphics and all that
Yes.
stuff. Still manages to be a visually compelling game, but also brutal at certain moments as well.
Absolutely. I think you've touched on kind of the heart of
Yes.
the game. Both Limbo and Inside have
Yeah.
this. It's like an elegance and simplicity sort of
Yes.
thing. Everything is really stripped down, and I think that's why we like this game a lot, because it's like there's not a lot going on scenery wise.
No.
There's not a lot to the character models. There's not a lot to the mechanics even. It's like you run, you jump, and you can interact with objects like pull levers, push crates, and that's it.
Run, jump, grab. That's
Mhm.
all you've got.
Exactly. But they managed to make a really fully like developed game out of it. Something that's
Yeah.
really fun and rewarding, right?
Yeah, and again, just like even with those limited resources, like visually compelling, like I don't know, especially with Inside, an incredibly impressive level of how good this game looks. Like just
Uh-huh.
moments where I would just like stop moving just to like to look at the screen and be like, how the fuck? Like, there's
Yeah.
like collectively 4 colors on the screen right now, and they're all working perfectly well together.
Mhm. It's exactly what it needs to be and is nothing more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, like Limbo, this is normally the part where we would dive deep into like specifically what the plot is for the game.
Again, elegance and simplicity. There's
Yeah.
not much. There's no text in
No,
the
none at all.
entirety of the game. Not
Because even Limbo, you had like those little like weird diary things you could find that would give you
don't think so.
some hints.
What?
There was like little things you could find that would kind of like it would just give you like a vague idea of what was going on. But there's not even.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. This sounds familiar to me. Maybe I'm
Somebody
making it
fact
up.
check us.
Anyway, but no, but there's nothing. There's no dialogue. There's nothing that hints you into what's
There's
going on.
not a single word in the game. Not even like a word on a sign.
Yeah.
Nothing. Which is so cool. Because,
Yeah.
well, from a game making standpoint, it makes it really easy to like get it out to the world because you don't have to translate anything.
No, it's true. It's like it's perfectly accessible to everybody. Like
Yeah.
there's no language barrier. There's no well, in terms of like the storytelling in that sense, there's no accessibility
Right.
barriers and whatnot.
Mhm.
I don't know about like how it's a simple game, so I don't know about like how good the accessibility is for a game like
for
this
like everyone, yeah.
for everybody. But but just like easily marketable, which is good because the company is not based in the States.
It's not.
They're
Danish?
Danish. Thank you.
Danish.
Danish. That's exactly.
There's some sort of like Nordic or Swedish.
I
or
actually
something.
have it up here.
Oh yes, please.
Very, very quickly.
Tell us
Well, maybe I don't have it exactly over where they're from. I do know when it was started by the actual game director for Limbo, and then subsequently Inside, Art Jensen, who essentially was just sort of like sketching out the ideas originally, and then founded the company with another gentleman, around 2004. No, 2006 was when they founded the company together and started developing games. But even still, they're not any bigger than like I think
they had like 16 people total working on the first game.
working on the first game, and then they
yeah.
went to 50 for Inside.
Yeah.
But even that wasn't like it was like outside contracts and like freelance
Exactly, a lot of
workers and stuff like
freelancing
that.
and yeah, exactly.
So but even then it still wasn't like a full on like a AAA title like you see where it's like literally hundreds of people
literally hundreds of
working
people,
on
a
a
thousand
game
people
like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. No. So yeah, another great aspect of Inside and Limbo 2. It's hard to let's address it now. It's hard to not compare them, right? Because they are very
Almost
similar.
impossible. Yeah.
It's like nigh impossible to not compare them.
Yeah.
Well,
they started with the engine they developed for Limbo and used it for Inside.
Right.
So it's not like they were trying to hide the fact that it's like we're doing this in this way in order to
Right.
yeah.
And they ultimately did move to the Unity engine for inside, but one is a product of the other.
Exactly.
So it's hard to not draw the correlations. Even, I mean, just the method of storytelling is identical. The simplicity, identical. Puzzle solving, puzzle platforming aspect, identical. So it's hard to not compare them. But Inside does have great puzzles, just like Limbo did. And
I was going to ask your impressions of the puzzles, because going through it this time, I was very familiar again to be like, oh yeah, this one I have to move this over here and then jump on here and run around here.
Yeah.
Whereas like I because it's been too long, so I don't remember. Like, was there anything you hit that was like just that puzzle game wall where you was kind of like, what the fuck do you want me to do?
Not for longer than like a minute or two, to be honest.
Okay.
I felt like the puzzles were really like kind of intuitive, but like also challenging, but like nothing, like you said, like beating my head against the wall.
Yeah, nothing that made you just like want to scream and jump out the window, because it was just like, I don't understand logically where you want me to go from here. Like, this doesn't.
Right. No, and maybe that was because we played Limbo and I knew what was the zhuzh kind of, you know? But I still felt like the puzzles were really like, it felt satisfying to solve them, if that makes sense. It was like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to push this crate over here. And then I'm going to get out. And then when that all happens, it's so satisfying.
Well, that's the thing. It understands the satisfying thing of solving a puzzle is the solving of the puzzle. It's not like, you know, it's not the treasure you find at the end or the door that opens up. It is that moment of going like, I got it. And then having it, and then leaving the room or moving on from it. Is the confirmation of like, oh yes, you were right. Now you get to move on.
Correct.
You know what I mean? The satisfaction is in a puzzle is solving the damn puzzle.
Exactly. And the game Inside is jam packed with them. It's like
nonstop.
Limbo was the same way, but it's just basically like moving from one puzzle to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
Which is great for me. I like a game like that.
But there's also really cool stuff where it's like it once again, like with no dialogue, with no text overlays, no like hints that pop up to be like you should be doing this right now. It's so nice to want to figure out on your own. Like, I do remember the first time there's a section in it, so to vaguely sort of talk about what happens in the game. Well, like we said, you start off as this little boy, you fall down the side of a hill, you get up, you start running, you start getting chased by dudes, and eventually you make your way into like this huge facility where they're messing with clones or zombies. Or like it's who knows?
Yeah. I got like reanimated body, like zombie people vibes. That's what I got from it.
I kind of got that too. But at first, I remember first playing it, I was like, oh, is this like a cloning facility? Am I like an escape clone? And then we started messing with like the ability to control them and move them around with you and whatnot. And I was like, okay, this is something else. Never mind. But there's a section where you're running around and you see, first, again, brilliant visual storytelling. You're running along the rooftops in this facility, and you see in the background of it, which is a great thing to use in a 2D platform, to use your background to tell your story.
Yeah.
You see a line of these, like, again, just like vague, featureless sort of humans just walking perfectly in sync in a line together. And then you wind up in a spot where you fall through a hole and you end up in that line.
Yes.
That you watched earlier of them walking in sync. Yeah. And this little like robot hovers above you and puts like a light on you to kind of like spotlight you. And again, without telling you, you figure out like, I have to match with the group. And you then have to spend a minute or so to just like walking in step perfectly in sync with everybody else there and stopping and jumping when they tell you to. And just like keeping, and it's just like, it gives you just enough space to see enough ahead of you to know like, okay, when I get in that box, I have to jump when they all jump.
Right.
Or when I get to this section, I have to turn around and turn back around when they do.
Right.
Just so well done. And again, no hints, nothing pops up, nothing says anything. No. You just figured out on your own.
It's really effective. It's really cool to see a game not need text at all.
Yeah.
And you like know exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it does good things too, because just like it has little moments with the game itself that kind of like, hand-holding is the wrong word, but just like it's like the character will sort of give you a hint like, hey, right now you might want to do this. Like the very beginning of the game, the first time you run into the dudes who are like pull up in the jeeps and start chasing you, you don't push a button, your character sort of crouches and like starts hiding behind things and is like sort of peeking over a little bit on its own, which makes you go like, oh, I don't want to be seen by these people.
Right.
Same thing with like when you drop into the thing and you end up in the line. He quickly looks around and then drops his head to match with everyone else there too. That immediately makes you go like, oh shit, okay, I need to do what I need to do here.
Right.
So there's little things that are hints, but it's not like a pop-up going like, uh-oh, better try to
Yeah.
It's not like super obvious.
Press the X button to interact with objects. Like, yeah.
Which is like, some games you need that, and I don't have an issue with it in general. But like sometimes it is just kind of like, I don't need you to tell me I need to fucking crouch here. Just what button is crouch?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
All I need.
That's all I need is just what are the buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is, as if somebody's been playing games for so long, it is refreshing to get a game like this where it's just kind of like, we trust you. You know what I mean? Like you
got this.
You got this. It's a side scroller. There's like 3 controls to it.
Right.
We're not gonna treat you like a fucking moron.
Right.
It really is nice to be like, this game thinks I'm smart.
And honestly, for a game like this, I feel like a pop-up that's like, interact with this object by pressing X. You can pull levers too. Like, I think all of that would like really, it's breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And it would take away from the experience that is the game.
Would fully break the immersion for me.
Yeah,
for sure. Would
absolutely.
100% just like pull me out of it.
Yeah. And the immersion, I'm glad you touched on that, because that brings me to my next point, which is this game has that kind of like Outlast effect that I've talked about, wherein like when something is happening to the character, it feels like it's happening to you.
Oh my god, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You feel so, I think it's because of the perspective and like how much you stay with this one, and there's no like cutscenes, no cutaways, nothing like that. How much you stay locked in step with the character you're playing, who is, how sympathetic I feel towards this young child in this game is interesting, because I don't know his name. Like, arguably, like the game suggests something more masculine, so you assume a boy, but arguably it doesn't give you any kind of a gender identity to it.
Yeah.
But like, it does. You feel so much for this kid as he goes through this, where you're just kind of like, oh, buddy, like.
Yeah.
So what I always feel when I play, I'm just like, oh, champ, I'm so sorry. If I could make you go towards me and just get out, I would. But my options are left and right. I'm sorry. Absolutely. I can't do anything else. I'm trying here.
Yeah. Especially too, like the like water sections of the game. Usually water sections are like the worst, right? Usually nobody likes to do the swimming and like doing all of that. Yeah. In this game, it's like so smooth. I really, really I like the submarine portion a lot. And I liked that there was like the recurring like baddie that was trying to get you in the water. She was freaky.
I was gonna say, gameplay mechanic wise, it is not the worst, but in terms of that shit, no, it's the worst. It's just, it's this like little girl. Again, like roughly around the same
hair
age,
in the
full
water.
on grudge hair in the water, and she just chases you in the water. Yeah. And you're just kind of like, not only is this 100% not my elements, but also you're horrifying. Yeah. And I do not want to be caught by you. But also, no hints for just like run away. You just see her and you just go run. Like I need to not be near her. I need to be away from her.
A lot of screaming, a lot of heart racing in those sections.
Did you ever get caught when you were in the submarine by her?
I don't think so.
For some reason, that's the most like creepy one for me with her.
What happened?
She like goes up to the little window on the front where you could see your little character in there, and like busts her way in through that. So she goes to the top, she's like, and like gets in there and gets at you.
Horrifying.
It is truly fucking terrifying.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with all of that out of the way, I think we've arrived to the point where we want to talk about the ending. And kind of our interpretation of the ending.
Oh my god.
Spoilers ahead, warning. We're gonna talk about the true quote unquote ending, and then also the secret ending.
Yeah.
And how you get the secret ending, if you care to know. But spoilers ahead, fair warning. If you don't want to know the end, then like skip ahead, so that you don't get spoiled. But let's talk about that
I just want to get your I just want to get a barometer here real quick before we dive into the details.
Right.
What was your reaction to the ending first time?
I was bothered, bewitched, and bewildered. Like I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And then like when you like became part of, okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So we can talk about it. Yeah.
So you've made your way through this game, solved all the puzzles, dodged all the baddies, and the traps, and you get into this like aquatic chamber where this congealed mass of bodies has formed.
Yeah.
And they are hooked up to the mind control things that you've experienced throughout the game. There's like 4 on them.
And you've got like all the scientists and workers in the facilities up against glass, like looking seeing inside, what's happening.
Right? And monitoring what's happening.
Yeah.
And you get in there, and then you rip all of the mind controlling bits off, and then you become one with, they call it the huddle.
Yeah, the huddle.
Which I hate.
The huddle, it's such a, I hate it so much.
Hate that that's the term.
It's
But
disgusting.
you become one with the huddle, and then you are this fleshy blob for the last, like, few sections of the game.
Yep.
And one, right off the blob mechanics, I could play a whole game like that. I thought it was so cool.
I remember the first time playing it, I was like, this is gonna probably get really weird and annoying to control. And it's slightly
so
different than what you've been doing, but it's not like unfeasible or undoable.
No, not at
like
all.
again, same thing. Like no section where I was just like I wanted to throw a controller. It was just like it was very, very clean still.
Absolutely.
But like still you felt that like you again, the impressive thing for how limited the resources were for this, of just like I felt a difference in like weights and how I had to control it as well.
Yeah.
Which is insanely impressive to do with something like that. I was just like, oh no, I can't jerk the stick just all the way to the left because it's just gonna go and then I gotta stop it. Like,
right. So anyway, so you become one with the huddle, and then you smash and blast your way through the facility, and you finally get out.
very satisfying too.
Very satisfying,
to just like
I think, yeah.
just like bulldoze your way
Yeah.
over these like scientists and just like break through walls and shit.
It's
Like,
it's very much like, oh, we broke out, we're unhinged, like
Yeah, we're done.
going
We're
now,
done
we're fucking
now.
done. And okay, so interpretation, I believe, and lots of other people believe this is not revolutionary, but that
So I do have some
huddle,
of the theories that have been
right, that the
passed
huddle
around.
was actually controlling the boy throughout the entirety of the game through the mind control devices.
Yeah.
And used the boy as a means to get out.
Yeah.
And that is like the ending is like you finally break out of the facility and you like kind of roll down this hill and you're on the coast and you can see the water and it's like, we finally made it outside.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. That's more the one that I've just like definitely more subscribed to myself.
Uh-huh.
There was a couple other interesting ones that I really, really liked.
Mm-hmm.
The one that was really weird I was trying to think of which part of it was. Was given the facility and the theory scientist, but the boy. Oh yeah, was it the idea that a lot of this was like that this was all sort of a like test set up by the scientists?
Oh, interesting.
Like like they allowed the boy to escape to see what he could do to see about making it back to the huddle and stuff like that.
Like how strong is the huddle?
How strong is the huddle? How deep
Oh.
its reach and its pull towards everything that it can control?
And then it just like
whatnot.
spirals beyond out of their control. They're like, oh, we fucked up.
Yeah, we didn't realize that we didn't realize that if he got absorbed by the huddle, he would then be able to break out as the huddle.
Yeah.
Didn't anticipate
Didn't
that.
think about that.
Because the reason why I kind of do like that too is because like when you start fucking with shit, the scientists do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you start pulling everything off of the huddle and they're just sitting there going like, oh
this
okay.
tracks. Yeah.
This tracks. This is what he was going to do.
Yeah.
And then you get pulled into it. They still do nothing, but it's only when you
Start breaking the glass.
breaking the glass apart is when they kind of go like, this wasn't supposed to happen. Fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So did you get the secret ending? Did you research the secret ending?
I'm not on this playthrough because I was just like, get through the game again to get familiar with it, but I have gotten the secret ending before. So
It's the most
it's so
obtuse.
weird. It's so weird. And let me say very quickly, I love a fucked up ambiguous ending. Like it's one of my favorite. If it's done well, it's one of my favorite things. Like people hate it. Some people hate it, but the ending to Hereditary is one of my favorite fucking things on the planet. Because it's just like, and we're done. And I'm like, that's incredible. I love it so much.
Right.
But like similarly with this, it's just like even with that, like with the big escape, you get this big grand finale, and then the huddle just flops on the fucking coast, and you're like, oh, that's it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember the first time I played, just sitting there, just like, no, something else has got to happen. Something else has got to happen. And then credits started going, and I went, something else has got to happen. It's trying to trick me. Something else. Nope, and then nothing.
It's kind of like you finally made it outside, but at what cost?
Yeah, but at what price?
Right.
Like exactly at what cost? So which then with the secret ending, it's even more weird because what you sort of discover, and I remember I found one randomly as you go through the game. There's these like, and some of them you don't unlock until you finish the game, and then you could go back in.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, you have
I
to.
didn't know that.
You have to finish the game, and then there's a section you could get to where it allows you to go back to certain chapters in the game.
Okay.
And look for these like little spots. So,
But you could potentially get all of them in the first playthrough.
I don't know. I'm
you
pretty
knew where to
sure.
go.
I'm pretty sure what I read was that like you have to beat the game,
okay.
and then the game would allow you to go back and repeat sections, and then you could find all that stuff.
Interesting.
But anyway, we're dancing around it. Sorry. Basically, what it is like throughout the game, you find these like weird little like
Orbs
that show up, and they're all like hidden underground or like they're like deep inside of a cave or
Yes.
something like that. Very clearly supposed to be secret.
Yeah.
But you find them by like finding these like little cords that kind of run in and out of them.
Uh-huh.
And you just run up to them and you grab them and you essentially just unplug them and they just shut off. And there's, I think there's like no more than like 15 or 20 of them throughout the whole game.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
So I found the first one. The first one I think is when you like jump off a cliff and you're in the water for the first time, and the people are searching for you with searchlights.
Yep.
I was like, because I always do this in side scrollers. I'm like, oh, game wants me to go right, so it's time to go left.
Yep, exactly.
And
You
so-
always check left first.
Right. So I went in and I like found it and I was like, oh, cool, an orb thing. And then I interacted with it, pulled it out, deactivated it, and I was like, oh, I'm sure that shut off something that I was supposed to do.
Yeah,
like,
that you're supposed to
I'm
come back
sure
and
that I
find.
just like came here early, right? But I'm
Yeah.
sure I like turned off an electric fence or like something, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't think anything of it. And then I found another one later on and I was like, oh, so this is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So should I have been looking for these the whole time?
And then I did kind of start actively looking for them. But I didn't know what it was like leading up to until I like researched it, and then I was like, well.
Yeah. The secret ending. and whatnot.
There was definitely one that I missed and like could not fix because you needed like mind control people to like do it, and I had already moved past.
Oh, I think I know which one you're
what
talking
I'm
about. And
and where you're
yeah.
getting all of the people in the facility. One of my favorite puzzling sections.
So
I
weirdly
love that section.
fun. So weirdly fun to just
love
like
it.
get this like gaggle of just like,
like, floppy
lifeless husks
humans.
just like following you around.
Yeah.
It's both like really like endearing and also really creepy at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's the first time in the game that you're like, I don't feel totally alone right now. But it's only because I'm surrounded by
Mindless
fucking corpses
yeah.
that are only following me because of my mind control powers that I've gotten now. But you go throughout the chapters and you find these little spots and you start unplugging all this shit and you're just
Right.
kind of like, what is this for? And then you get to the last like big one that you got to unplug, and then you unplug it and your character falls over dead.
Right. Essentially.
and then it just fades to black and it's like, no, that's it.
And that's the secret ending. It's
That's
like,
the secret
actually,
ending.
yeah. So wild.
Which is the theory on that has been that's sort of like the devices used to sort of like help broadcast the signal
Yeah,
of the
and it's
huddle
like we're
to
just
help
pulling
mind
it.
control.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, no, fuck that, and you fully unplug it, and that completely deactivates its control
Right,
over
right.
everybody in the facility. To which I'm like, that's super cool and interesting, and I really, 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 really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
that is Inside in a nutshell.
Yeah, but before we move on, there's
Oh, sure.
something I wanted to. So no, I'm sorry. This is something I needed to mention because it's just like, just looking into this thing was so much fun. Just like we always have fun researching this stuff, but
Yeah.
just like finding all the weird little nuggets for this thing just like made me happy. So looking into it, I got to look into like the sound design for the game and the music and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's very the music in the game is very, very simple. Like it's very similar to Limbo, where there's just like this little. It just seems like there's like little notes going in and out and stuff like that, and just like kind of pops up when you need to know like there's a dramatic cue for something or something like that. But it really is there to create the atmosphere. But just wanted to mention this thing really, really quickly here for what I found out about the music.
Yeah.
Martin Stig Anderson with Gunvor Ryberg composed and designed Inside soundtrack returning from Limbo. Anderson was inspired by 1980s B horror films, often using synthesizers, but did not want to compose an actual soundtrack. Instead, he created the music by routing sound through a human skull and recording the result, a bone conducting sound that created a somber, chill quality that often complements Inside's visuals.
Wild.
They literally made the fucking score for this by running their sound through a fucking human skull. That is the coolest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is so cool. It's so metal.
Metal. It's so fucking metal. I made me so happy when I heard it.
Yeah.
I literally was just like sat there for like 2 minutes just like giggling. I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever heard.
It's very, very cool. So let's talk about some of the accomplishments
Holy shit.
of this game. Because if our endorsement wasn't enough,
Yeah.
let's talk about the actual things that this game has like achieved.
Yeah.
For one, the lowest score across all major publishers on this game is an 8. The lowest score.
Yeah, so that's like
Wild.
that's Game Informer, that's Kotaku, that's like any of the major
All of them.
publishers out there that do
Right.
game reviews. No one went lower than a fucking 8.
Right.
And even that, I'm like, how did you even give it an 8? Like, what was your flaw? What did you find that was wrong with this?
I do wonder.
Personal taste would be the only thing to me that would give this game an 8.
I think so.
With someone going like, I didn't like the ending. That would be the
Right.
only thing that I could see.
Absolutely. Other things that it's won, Best Independent Game from the Game Critics Award 2016, Best Art Direction and Best Independent Game from the Game Awards from 2016, the DICE Sprite Award, Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction, Outstanding Achievement in Game Direction from the 20th Annual DICE Awards, Camera Direction in a Game Engine from the National Academy of Video Game Trade Reviews, Best Audio, Best Visual Art, at the Game Developers Choice Awards 2016, Artistic Achievement, Game Design, Narrative, Original Property, and Action from the 13th British Academy Games Awards, and Best User Experience and Best Visual Design from the 2018 Webby Awards. Holy mackerel. I mean...
What else do you need for us to sell you this game that came out 4 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. So... Again, if our endorsement wasn't enough, hopefully that puts it over for you.
Yeah.
So here's what's coming up in Playdead's future, because Playdead's third game has been teased as early as January 2017. So they're working on some third project. And they're describing it as like a fairly lonely sci-fi game somewhere in the universe. We like space games. We like creepy space games. This sounds right up our alley. And if they're gonna just like expand on what Limbo and Inside have already set up, I'm all for it.
Oh, you could just tell me that just like this takes place inside a molecule, but if it's from Playdead, I'm gonna pick it up. Like it doesn't matter. I don't get like your setting cool, like space neat.
Yeah,
I'm there. You have my money.
Yeah,
let's go.
Totally, absolutely. So that's all we have for Inside. Let's go over to our bonus round.
Hello.
Hi.
I feel so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Everybody, you're hearing the lovely voice of Caitlin, who's here to make our show bigger and better. And she has planned a bonus round for us, so we have no idea what's going on.
No clue what's gonna happen.
So, tell us more.
So, we're just going to have a cute, fun time.
Okay.
We're going to see if you know yourself.
Oh.
Through the peer-reviewed and, tested BuzzFeed quizzes.
Incredible. Yes. Absolutely.
I chose a little bit of a theme. It's my favorite gaming, franchise, Pokemon.
Okay.
There we go.
Excellent. A lovely choice.
Thank you.
Biased.
And so, okay, here's where we're going to start. I actually want you guys, so we're going to learn 2 things about you today.
Okay.
One is, let me read this ridiculous title.
Oh boy.
Your favorite evolution will determine what you look for in a life partner.
Okay.
And then also just, what Pokemon are you? So I want you guys to first tell me, let's do what Pokemon are you first.
Okay.
What Pokemon do you think you are? Let's see if you're right.
Ooh, what Pokemon am I? This is going to be harder for Jordan because he doesn't know his Ponic as well.
Oh, no.
Well,
You can stick to the
here's the thing.
original 150.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have my Pokemon in mind, but I don't remember what it's called.
Describe it to us.
Yeah.
I know it's the middle evolution of 3.
Okay.
It's just the fucking buff kind of rocky dude.
Oh,
Graveler?
are you
Not Graveler.
Are you, is it a monkey or is it?
a Rhydon or that one?
No, fucking it's not him much. It's one that you literally starts as like a tiny little dude that's like kind of like a little like fighty muscly guy. Not him though.
You're
not him.
thinking
But
of-
it turns into like just like a jack dude basically, and then turns into
You're
another one
thinking
with
of
4 arms.
Machoke.
It is Machoke?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, yeah. I like that for you.
That's who that like it's just a big fucking buff Pokemon.
Yeah,
Like
see,
what
I
else?
understand.
Very quickly, and we might cut this down. Google the original sprite for Machop. It's adorable.
Original sprite from Machop.
Yeah, like the Gen 1.
How do you
OP.
spell?
You got it.
OP?
Machop. Yep.
He's
He's like a.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
He's
yeah,
a
yeah.
fucking goof. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what it was for like one of the original like Game Boy ones.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that. I saw this little fuck.
That's the ones that I played.
I saw this little guy when I played the games.
Oh wait, sorry. I got another one. Do the same thing, but for Golbat.
Golbat.
Is that what it is? He looks.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, with his tongue out. Yeah, I
Perfect.
forgot about
Oh,
him.
we added a little thing.
Yeah. There's one with like bad pixelation. That tongue can look like something else.
Oh,
With the alignment and the placement.
Ugh.
Ugh.
So you're gonna have a hard time with this quiz if you did not play Pokemon. So
It's okay,
so
we'll
maybe
help
time.
you.
I played it way back in the day. Like it's
And
just
that's-
I'm just
That's
old.
what we're referencing here.
So then I need to figure out what Pokemon I am.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like help me out here.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know because I want to say like Bulbasaur, but that's just 'cause that's my favorite.
I thought Bulbasaur honestly
was
at
my
first.
first
I did think
starter.
I
Bulbasaur.
love Bulbasaur. I'm like
I thought
it's like the cop out answer
I
because it's
no,
my favorite. But
I honestly for you I thought Bulbasaur or Squirtle.
he
Like no bullshit.
is chill. He likes eating and sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's me.
Perfect.
And laying in the sun.
He takes out his vines, he does a little dancey dance, so it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question, and we're gonna see if you guys are right.
Mm.
Okay.
How well do you know yourself?
Yeah.
Where do you live? And the options are, and you might have a hard time if you don't remember: Pallet Town, Meridian City, Pewter City, Cerulean City, Vermilion, Lavender Town, Cinnabar Island, Fuchsia City, and Saffron City.
So basically, one of the towns from the
Yeah. Well, can I ask questions to maybe help?
Yeah,
guide you a little bit here?
absolutely.
I know most of these.
Yeah.
This is like dream. I would like want to live here.
Yeah, this is where do you live?
Yeah.
Cinnabar Island for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I dig it.
It's like kind of tropical. It's got
Yeah.
a volcano and
Everyone wants to fight you.
Oh, okay. Is there anything that's like kind of like not in the middle of it, but sort of like forest adjacent?
Viridian.
Viridian, yeah, because I like a little bit of isolation, but I don't want to be like locked away from society. So something
Yeah.
that's
Viridian's
like,
cool too because once you can chop down trees,
Yeah.
you have like that shortcut that takes you to like really anywhere.
that sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah.
But like for the most part, you're kind of out of the way by the forest.
That's why, like, because that's kind of like what I love about where I live right now is that I'm close to like Pasadena and LA, so I could go there if I want to. But like, I kind of live in a cozy little town, so it's not like super busy all the time, which I like. So yeah, Viridian City then that works for me.
Perfect. I'm now realizing though. One moment. I'll cut this. I have to have 2 tabs open.
Yep.
So
Yep.
let me go ahead and paste this and hope that I can keep track of whose this is. Okay, so we got a Viridian and we got a Cinnabar Island.
Perfect.
All right, the next question. Choose a gym badge. So there's a Boulder badge, a
Ooh.
Cascade badge, Thunder badge, Rainbow badge, Soul badge, Volcano badge, Earth badge, Marsh badge, Relic badge.
Can I have 2? Because I feel like I have Boulder and Rainbow Badge.
You can have 2.
Do you know the rules of BuzzFeed quizzes?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Earth Badge because I always liked the design. The shape of it was really cool.
Yeah.
Just based on like gut instinct how I'm feeling, I'm gonna go Boulder Badge. That just feels right to me. It just sounds right.
Yeah.
I like it. Did I say Earth badge?
I don't know if you did.
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay.
I'm blind.
I'm pretty sure that you named all of them.
I did, yeah. And then you were saying Boulder.
I said
Boulder
Boulder
for Jordan.
yes.
Yeah, Boulder. Yeah.
Got you.
Choose your favorite game. Red version, blue version, yellow version, gold version, black version, diamond version, ruby version, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon X. My favorite isn't even on here.
Gotta go with blue out of those options because blue
Yeah.
was my first
Yeah.
Aw.
one. Yep.
I remember I had both blue and red
Wow.
when I was
Rich.
way when I was like way younger. I also played it on like the old fucking brick Game Boy, all right?
Yeah, me too.
But
I still play it on
yeah.
Game Boy.
But then I got the color, like the special Pikachu one that came with yellow, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I played the shit out of that one, but
And you get a Pikachu as your starter.
and you get a Pikachu as your starter, and I was a
cool.
big fan of the cartoon growing up. So I think I'd have to go yellow. I'm gonna go yellow on that one actually.
Good choices. All right, what is your best quality? Respectful, honest, passionate, humble, focused, confident, brave, likable, sexy.
Well, we could just say that for both of us. Sexy.
I'm
is
gonna
already
need you to
a
resist the
given.
urge to lie.
I tried to compliment both of us, and all you did was tear me down.
Will not have it.
Jesus.
I maybe have acted a little quickly. I didn't realize you were going to compliment both of us. So not respectful.
Not respectful, but maybe honest. To a lethal degree, apparently.
I'm going to go with confidence because I am typically overconfident.
Okay.
What were some of the options again? Sorry, can you run me through?
Respectful, honest, passionate, humble, focused, confident, brave, likable, and sexy.
I really think I'm gonna go passionate.
Yeah.
Similarly to just like a problematic degree. Where it's like when I lock in on something that I love, that's like all I'm gonna think about and talk about for a long time.
By best quality, you meant most intense, right?
Yeah, most intense, right?
Okay, what is your greatest weakness? Distant, selfish, perfectionist, impatient, unassertive, controlling, stubborn, always late, or pushy.
Perfectionist.
He's definitely perfectionist. I would say for you for sure. I'm stuck between. I feel like I'm kind of stuck between stubborn and pushy. I feel like I tend to like similar to the passionate thing. I just like when I get locked in on something, I tend to really want to try to get my way. Something I've been working on a lot, but I tend to sort of like try to really push in the direction of things that I want to get. So I'd say pushy is probably my biggest weakness.
Okay, who's the hottest? Ash, Misty, Brock, Gary Oak, Nurse Joy, Professor Oak, Jesse, James, or Officer Jenny?
None of the above.
Wait, sorry.
Come on.
Is Jesse and James a single option?
No, separate. I know. Together, it'd be a shoo-in.
Fuck
gotta
it.
be James.
BuzzFeed quizzes are fucking by erasure. This is bullshit.
I'm gonna go with James because he be turning it out.
He,
in those
yeah,
outfits.
it's true. I think I might go James too, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Jesse's cute, but I don't know. There's something about James. I'm gonna go with that too.
All right. Okay, and then next, and I believe last, pick an evolutionary stone. There's fire, water, thunder, moon, leaf, sun, shiny, dusk, dawn.
Gotta pick a leaf stone.
Me too.
Nice.
Why? Why for you? I know what you mean.
Oh, I mean, it's okay. This is a weird thing. The other stones look kind of like a crystal almost, and I like the leaf stone because it's so simple. It's just so
I
like
get that.
innocuous
I get
almost,
that.
you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I'm gonna go thunder,
Okay.
and I can explain why very, very quickly.
Okay.
Caitlin, what did you call me before we started recording?
What is it?
Big and loud.
Beautiful and loud.
Beautiful and
loud,
loud. Perfect.
Love it.
Need I say more?
So, I think you guys know yourself pretty well. It's slightly off,
Okay.
but kind of on. So, Pikachu.
I got Pikachu. Okay, I can see it.
Cute, yeah.
Sure, you can be stubborn at times, but you also know how to kick some butt when the time is right. You're a strong Pokemon and an even stronger friend. Any Pokemon master would be proud to have you on their team.
Pikachu's the OG. I'm good with this.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
one.
think
Yeah.
he might be. And then I think actually he knows you better than you know yourself. Blastoise.
Hey!
Because you said Squirtle. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Cannons, freaking cannons. You're about as badass of a Pokemon as they come. Remember when you were just a baby Squirtle? Of course you don't, because now you have cannons on your back. You've upgraded your life to the max.
Oh my gosh, that said nothing about me. It was all about Cat.
I will say when I did play the originals back in the fucking day, I always started with Squirtle because I loved getting to Blastoise for the game. It's my favorite one. My favorite ending for a starter to get to.
See, I always pick the grass starter, just
Right.
because green is my favorite color, and you know how green people are. But I always pick the grass starter, and especially in the first game because Venusaur had Solar Beam, fucking
Yes.
Solar Beam.
Yeah.
Hello, like yeah.
Plus, it's the only starter for that one. I think I'm right. Oh no, Charizard's. I was saying it's the only double. It turns to poison grass.
Oh.
Double typing, but I think Charizard is fire flying. But I could be wrong.
Oh yeah.
I
Something like
think
that.
you're right,
But I
but
feel like
not in
poison-
first gen because first gen exclusively Pokemon could only be one type.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't until I almost said season 2.
Yeah.
It wasn't until
Season
generation 2 that Pokemon could have double typing.
I always started with Squirtle because like the first gym you interact with is in the original ones anyway. It was
Is Brock's
Brock
gym,
with
yeah.
the rocks, and I was just like,
Absolutely.
water type, fuck him up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so then your favorite evolution will determine what you look for in a life partner.
Umbreon.
Well, yeah.
Slammed Umbreon.
Yeah. Well, first I want to hear like, how well you know yourself. What do you look for in a life partner?
Well, let me think about my life partner.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let us both think of to the people we're married to.
Yeah.
And just kind of go, well.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is Garrett because he is my ideal life partner. But he's like funny, makes me laugh all the time. We love joking with each other. He's unafraid to roast me and check me when I need to be checked. But he like tries to make himself better every day for me and for our marriage, and I try to do the same for him. So, well, this got sappy.
Yeah, I love it though. Mine's similar, but just a little bit different. Just like one of my favorite things about my marriage is that it's like and the whole relationship was one thing I always appreciated was that it's like, have you ever like seen people or hung out with somebody who like they're one way with you, and then when their partner shows up, like their voice changes and they talk differently, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Like never once felt like I had to do it with Melody. Never had
Yeah.
to be like a different person in front of her than I was with like with my friends and whatnot.
Yeah.
But in the opposite side of that though, being with her and just like appreciating her has made me really, really, really want to become someone better. So it's just like, it's helped change habits for me. So like, it's someone who, for me, the ideal trait is someone who can push me in a way that is like, I want better for you, not in a way that's like, you can be better. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I want to be better because I want to be that for her. She's not expecting me to be better. She just likes the drive and just like will encourage that for me. Yeah.
Wow.
Saps.
Aw.
Okay, well, let's see if you were right about yourself.
What's your favorite evolution?
I don't fucking remember what they all are.
You want me to run through them?
Jolteon. Well, okay, you can choose Eevee, and then there's which is not an evolution, so
Misleading.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I did always just like Eevee
Eevee's
because it is so
adorable.
it's so cute.
Adorable, but I mean, there's Jolteon, there's Flareon, there's Vaporeon, Espeon, Umbreon, Leafeon, Sylveon, Glaceon.
I always like the fire one. I remember
That's
always like that one,
Flareon.
Flareon. I always liked Flareon growing
Yeah.
up. So
Okay,
if I had to pick a favorite, it'd probably be that one.
mine's Leafeon, which is why I like the Leaf Stone.
Makes sense.
Okay, so your Umbreon
Yeah.
tells you that you can't help but want the cliche of tall, dark, and handsome.
It's not my husband at all.
That said, you love a partner who is a bit of an enigma.
That's
That
true.
tracks.
Since they do keep a lot to themselves, the fact that you know so much is one of the most since they do keep to themselves, the fact that you know so much is one of the most romantic things you can think of.
Mhm.
You love being the key keeper to your heart of your significant other.
Yeah.
Aww.
I get that. I get that
That's
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems right for you.
Yeah.
And then let's see, Flareon.
He's definitely not tall, dark, and handsome.
The
He is.
passionate romantic.
He's handsome, but
It seems that your heart is drawn towards a fire type. Your partner has to be passionate about what they are doing in life and spicy in the bedroom. You are the person who falls head over heels for countless acts of romance.
Aw.
That is not a lie. That is not a lie.
Well, happy to see that you guys mostly know yourselves.
As far as BuzzFeed is concerned.
Yeah, because what we all know right now is that human psychology can be broken down to like 10 questions about Pokemon.
Absolutely.
Easily done.
Repeated studies.
Mhm.
Like they have proved this is a proven fact.
Can I see
Oh,
the
absolutely.
abstract for this?
Yeah, I want to.
Who funded this study?
Yeah, I want to know who's in charge of this thing.
Thank you all so much for listening to the latest and, in my opinion, the greatest episode of the podcast so far. What did you think of the changes and the new direction that we're moving in with this episode? And what did you think about Inside? Let us know.
Also, if you have any ideas for future discussions for our show, you can send us an email at 3vopodcastteam@gmail.com and give us some of your ideas. You can also find us pretty much everywhere online. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of it at 3VO Podcast. So please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to all of that stuff for us. It really makes a difference. And as always, thank you so much for watching and listening, guys. We really, really appreciate it.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.